Howdy friends and family, thank you so much for joining me. This is day 17 in the series that I'm doing called It Is Well. And we have been looking at the phrase, thou hast taught me to say. We've been looking at the pieces of the armor of God that allow us to resist temptation or help us to resist temptation. And today we're going to be looking at the breastplate of righteousness. Now, this is the second piece of armor that we see in Ephesians 6:14, which says, stand therefore having fastened on the belt of truth and having put on the breastplate of righteousness. Now, righteousness is when we are right with God. And when we are right with God, that means we have not sinned, which since Adam and Eve sinned has not been possible for man. In fact, in Psalm 143, verse 2, David says, enter not into judgment with your servant, for no one living is righteous before you. We cannot physically obtain righteousness. We are incapable of doing it. We are going to sin. And so that really makes this command to put on the breastplate of righteousness seem impossible. But it is in these impossible moments that we are able to see God working. You see, God doesn't tell us to do something without providing a way for us to do it. And in this case, we don't even have to do it. It is done for us. In Romans 5, verses 18 through 19, we see, therefore, as one trespass led to condemnation for all men, so one act of righteousness leads to justification and life for all men. For as by one man's disobedience the many were made sinners, so by the one man's obedience the many will be made righteous. This one man who was completely obedient is Jesus. He is the solution to this problem. Because we are incapable of being right with God, but Jesus makes us right with God. He justifies us. And in the Greek, the word justified is dikaio, which means cleared of all charges related to sin. So if sin is what separates us from God, and our punishment for sin is that we are to be fully separated from God forever, sin is what keeps us from being righteous. But Jesus justifies us, clears us of all of the charges related to sin. All of them. Not one, not a couple, not only the very lightest or the not so bad sins, every sin. I was asked during VBS many times about really what this looks like. And one of the kids said, okay, what if you had murdered someone, but you believed in God? Would you still get to go to heaven?